Hey, on this episode of How to Do Florida, we're diving for gold doubloons off Florida's Treasure Coast.
We dust the hole out, we watch basically the color of the water, and we'll see what we can find.
The fun part.
Hey, Bill, come over here. I'm getting a strong hit down here.
And the boys are in Tampa at Versace Shrimp Company, fixing up some shrimp ceviche.
There you have it. Yum.
Delicious.
It's time to do Florida.
Today on the show, I'm going to show you how to go treasure diving.
Today, we're at Sebastian Inlet, in the heart of Florida's Treasure Coast. Sebastian is just an hour and a half southeast of Central Florida.
Hands down, one of my favorite places to camp is right here at Sebastian Inlet State Park. This park puts you close to some of the best surfing, fishing, and outdoor activities Florida has to offer.
Across the inlet, the city of Sebastian has preserved one of the few commercial fishing operations in East Central Florida.
Working waterfront is an important part of Florida's coastline. It's a designated area where commercial fishermen, aquaculturists, basically people who make their living on the ocean, can come here, dock their boats, weigh their fish, and work.
This is our office. We need a home base to keep our boats, process all the seafood. It's critical that we don't lose what little bit we have left.
But that's just one of the many treasures to be found in this special part of Florida. Pelican Island is the first wildlife refuge established in the United States.
It all started right here.
Yes, sir. Right here in Sebastian, Florida. And because of it, we now have 562 national wildlife refuges.
This is a popular destination for bird watching, as well as kayaking and boat tours of the island.
While Sebastian is rich with family-friendly activities, the real treasure is out there.
Thanks to Florida's place in Spain's maritime history, the middle part of the East Coast is littered with Spanish fleet shipwrecks, lost while carrying untold riches back to the motherland. So many ships, in fact, this part of Florida has rightly earned the title of the Treasure Coast. Our guide today, Brent Brisben, who bought the salvage rights for these waters from the late, great Mel Fisher, an icon in the treasure hunting world.
Mel Fisher, ladies and gentlemen.
Just 17 days after purchasing the salvage rights, Brent and his crew continued Mel's tradition when they recovered the only bronze swivel gun ever found from the 1715 fleet. Inside were 40 silver and 51 gold coins. Booyah!
There were 11 Spanish galleons loaded with treasure. 5 of them went to Mexico to pick up treasure, 6 of them went to South America. They all reconvened in Havana, Cuba. On July 24th of 1715, they set sail for Spain. 7 days later, they're sailing along the east coast of Florida here, hit with a horrific hurricane, and all 11 ships were lost, giving us the Treasure Coast.
The reason why all these ships were traveling together? Spain had just ended an expensive war against the English and Dutch. To quickly stabilize its economy, King Philip V ordered as much treasure brought back from the Americas as soon as possible. The loss of these 11 ships began a slow decline of Spain as a world power.
So out of those 11, how many have been found?
We believe that 6 have been positively identified.
So there's 5 ships still out there. That's got to keep you going, right?
It absolutely does. We come out here every day hoping that we're going to find the mother lode.
Step 1, position the boat. It's not long before we're over our dive site.
The sky's already gold. That's got to be good.
But the work is just beginning.
What we're going to do right now is we're going to drop a buoy on our location where we intend to work. We'll then set up the boat in a 3-point stance, basically. There's a bow line, there's 2 stern lines in a triangular shape.
As you go a little bit south.
Southwest, go straight to the beach.
Why we do that is because we've got hydraulic winches on the boat that we can then use to move the boat around to exactly whatever GPS locations we want, and then we begin to excavate, see what we find, and move along.
While the boat gets set up, Brent gives me a sneak peek at the world of high-tech treasure hunting.
Oh, wow, what is this?
Here's what I was telling you about out there. This is our mapping system. We use this computer, it's tied into our GPS, and what you see here is a map of our wreck site. And where you see all these colors, all that blue is silver, the red is gold, and these are different excavations. Each one of these circles that's empty is an empty hole.
So how do they clear the sand to find the gold? An ingenious device called a mailbox, developed by Mel Fisher himself. This device blows prop wash directly into the sand, clearing it for the treasure hunters.
All we're doing is moving sand. A day or two later, the sand moves right back over the area and covers back up the spot that you just dug. Doesn't destroy the reef, doesn't do nothing. Just blows the sand away, get the bedrock, and then it comes back after a day or two.
We dust the hole out. You know, we watch basically the color of the water to dictate that, okay, yeah, we pretty much dusted all the sand off in this area, and then we'll back the engines down. You and Bill jump in the water, and we'll see what we can find.
The fun part.
Finally, it's time to get wet.
It's a hot detector. Ready for the diver.
It's really, truly an adventure. It's about the thrill of the hunt. It's about recovering artifacts that haven't seen the light of day in 300 years.
Today's the day.
My dive partner, Bill, he's been treasure hunting for 20 years.
Bill's got the metal detector, and he's just kind of trying to cover as much area as he possibly can to determine if there's any, you know, metal in the area. Primarily, obviously, what we're looking for is metal artifacts. We do have artifacts that will not ring on the metal detector, such as porcelains and ceramics. So that's all kind of found visually, but certainly any of the metals are found through the use of the metal detector.
And hey, I'm holding my own, although not hearing much in the way of my metal detector pinging.
If individuals are interested in going out and hunting on their own, they can come and they subcontract with my company. This gives them the umbrella of working under my permits. They can go out, they can treasure hunt to their heart's content, and if they find anything, we split what they find 50-50.
So what do you think down there, Bill? A little rocky.
We're in an area, though, that we know a lot of coins have been found.
Yeah.
And we just believe that an area's never completely worked out.
A lot of nice places to hide, no hits, huh?
We're in a good area, man.
Move it over, let's keep going.
Let's go.
Next hole.
Next hole.
Treasure diving is very methodical. After 10 minutes of searching and finding nothing, we move the boat 30 feet and start the process all over again.
We've excavated our first hole, so now we're going to move over and, you know, dust off another area.
We repeat this process over and over until we hear that sweet, sweet sound. Ping!
Go ahead, Brent, let's dig.
It's 80 degrees by 22.677.
Then, out of the silence, the metal detector comes to life. I signal Bill to swim over. From the sounds of it, this could be big.
Coming up next,
You guys could come out every day of the year and not get many days like this.
we hit pay dirt.
There's no feeling like hearing that detector go off in your ear.
And still to come, Chef Justin prepares a seafood dish popular from the coastal regions of South America.
Florida shrimp and citrus ceviche. Good job, sir.
We're at Sebastian Inlet on Florida's Treasure Coast. Just off US 1 in Sebastian is Mel Fisher's museum. The world-famous treasure hunter career started in Vero Beach, where he successfully salvaged the 1715 fleet. Then, he went on to discover the shipwreck of the Atocha, just off of Key West. This was the largest underwater treasure find in history. The experience at the museum is both educational and exciting. You can even hold a gold bar.
You can feel the weight of it, how heavy it is. About $250,000 heavy.
Visitors can witness the spectacular collection of artifacts and treasure recovered from the ocean's depths. Speaking of treasure, let's get back to my dive.
Let's dig. You guys could come out every day of the year and not get many days like this. Beautiful diving weather.
After 3 hours on the bottom, I finally get a ping, and this could be big, a big score. I wonder what Fiji is like this time of year.
Hey, Bill, come over here. I'm getting a strong hit down here. You good? He's got a hit going right over here.
I was amazed at how Bill was able to sift through all that sand, and in no time, he had found my loot.
The odds of shipwreck material being found, maybe a 1 in 3 shot. The actual odds of finding some gold or some silver are probably more like a 1 in 10 shot.
So I had a good strong hit down there. I was really excited, boy. There's no feeling like hearing that detector go off in your ear, and it was a fish hook. Oh, man.
Sure, it sounded like a gold coin. Chad's learning what the frustration of what it's like to actually sit there and try to hand fan out, you know, these objects that are in the shells, in the sand. You can dig halfway to China before you actually find it, and when it's a lead fishing sinker, it's really disappointing.
Reality was kicking in. Treasure diving was a lot harder than I expected.
Gold, doubloon, silver. This treasure hunt is easy. This treasure hunting is hard. This is not what I had imagined.
While Brent and his crew continued to salvage offshore, Jonah Martinez and I decided to try a little beach combing. And on the beach, it's finders keepers.
What I do is I see a sign or I see something on the dune.
Like that keep off dune sign
and
right there.
I walk right for it and I swing as far as I can one way and as far back the other way. And I try and make it to where it looks like a snake going up and down the beach.
Trust me, looking for metal? Well, it'll test your metal. Then, finally a moment of reward.
Right there, I got a hit right here. We just found a gold ring. Now, how common is this?
That happens out here. This is not just the Treasure Coast for these wrecks. There's a lot of tourists here. Everyone's putting suntan lotion on. They're getting in the water. They're getting out of the water. Things come off. It happens just like that.
Found more on the beach today than we found out there on the boat.
Sometimes that's the way it is.
After my successful afternoon with Jonah, I returned to Brent's boat where we inventoried the day's haul.
This is our loot for the day, Brent. Here it is.
It's quite a sight to behold.
Estimated value?
A lot less than the fuel we spent looking for it.
These are the three things that I found right here.
Yeah.
But this is treasure hunting, right?
It absolutely is. This is bringing up garbage off the bottom of the ocean. It's just sometimes when we move that garbage out of the way, there's some treasure underneath.
There you go.
I guess, honestly, I probably should have shown this to you before you went in the water so you knew what you were looking for. But this is the Holy Grail right here.
Oh my gosh. No way. Well, I was seeing these down there all over the place. I mean, this is what I was supposed to be finding?
Yeah, I guess I should have let you in on this before you went in the water. That is an 8 escudo. That is the largest denomination gold coin that the Spanish made.
And that's probably what, 22 karat? What is it?
Absolutely.
22 karat?
Yep. And that coin was minted in 1711 in Lima, Peru.
The historical value here.
Absolutely. It's about a 10-time multiple. The scrap value on that coin is roughly $1,500. The actual value is about $15,000.
Well, I know you're supposed to wear your first find. So what do you think? Maybe a nose ring or an earring? Or
I
what do you
can
think?
stick that through your ear right now.
Stick that through my ear?
Uh-huh.
That's good.
The great treasure hunter Mel Fisher's motto was, "Today's the day," and it could be your day too. If you have an adventurous spirit and a dream of discovering some sunken loot off Florida's Treasure Coast.
We have the only place in the country where, John Q. Public or the average people can live their dream of finding sunken treasure.
So check out this stretch of tranquil sands and rich history and gorgeous Sebastian.
They're everywhere.
And maybe you can land the next coffer of booty from the Spanish fleet of 1715.
Up next, a Latin fare suitable for a king.
This is delicious, Chef. Oh my gosh.
Chef, I see shrimp and I see citrus. What are you doing to me?
That's right. We have a wonderful fresh Florida shrimp and citrus ceviche. Woo-hoo-hoo! And with a twist.
We are here at the Tampa Shrimp Docks at the Versace Shrimp Company.
Yes.
Absolutely over 100 years old. A lot of history here, shrimping in Tampa. And Chef, real excited about what you got for us today. What are we doing?
We got shrimp and citrus ceviche.
Ceviche, so we're gonna do it a little different.
Traditional ceviche is cooked in acid or basically lime juice, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna blanch our shrimp for just safety reasons.
You're gonna get it hot, cook it a little bit, then stop the cooking.
That's right. Got my wonderful Florida shrimp here. These have been peeled, deveined, but we left the tail on. And then I have my boiling water here. And this is seasoned with just a little seafood spice because we don't want to cook it in plain water. We season everything, correct?
We season everything.
Okay. And then once they're done here, they're gonna go in the ice bath. So this ceviche dish is a very light and refreshing, and to me, very Florida, especially because we're using lots of great citrus. But I would serve this as maybe like an appetizer or, a luncheon or just a really refreshing dish. Maybe on a warm summer day, you want something cool and refreshing.
It's shrimp and citrus. I mean, seriously, you can't go wrong with shrimp and citrus.
That's right, that's right. Okay, I think my shrimp are good. Let's go ahead and get them in the ice bath.
You know, one of the great tips you gave me, Chef, last season was if it's done in the pan, it's overdone on the plate. And so what you're doing here, you're stopping, you're making sure it doesn't continue to cook.
That's exactly right. Okay, our shrimp are looking good. They've been properly chilled down. We drained out the water and ice, so now we're ready to move on.
Okay.
We're gonna go ahead and start adding some of our ingredients. We have some Florida pink grapefruit. Let's get that in there. We have Florida Tangelos.
Nice. Let me just test these, make sure these are up to standard.
And of course, a little bit of tangerine.
Oh yeah.
We have some diced Florida sweet peppers. Get in there. And a little bit of diced red onion.
Easy, chef.
I'm gonna do a little good quality olive oil. All right, we're gonna set this here for now while we start adding our other ingredients. We're gonna roll some lime so we can get some lime juice in there. I'm gonna let you squeeze.
Oh, nice.
But I'm rolling these limes so that we can get all the juice out of them. And this kind of softens up the sections.
Nice.
Here you go. You think you can handle that? Cut them in half.
Which side do I use? The dull side or the sharp side?
Sharp side.
Sharp side. Yes.
Do at least 3 limes. I've got some fresh cilantro here.
You want seeds or no seeds?
No seeds, please.
It's a nice forearm workout here, chef.
It's good for you.
Kind of going everywhere. Is it getting on your lens there?
We're gonna throw this in. And our last ingredient, of course, our Florida avocado. I'm just gonna slice this, put it on my board, run it around, and it pops right out.
What? How'd you do that?
And now I'm just gonna kind of put my knife through and make some cross hatches here so that this will come out nice and easy. This avocado will really make our dish a little nice and buttery. And then we can just take our spoon.
See how he's doing that? He made those strips in there, and he's gonna shovel it out like that, and it's like, bam.
It'll come right out. That's looking good. We're gonna move this up, and now we're just gonna season with a little bit of salt and pepper. Sea salt. A little fresh pepper. Okay. And now we just want to mix everything thoroughly.
Whew, that looks good, chef. So now this acid hits it, and it's going to start cooking a little bit, right? Even though they're still blanched.
It will. Okay, let's go ahead and bring over our serving dishes. I got these. You can use martini glasses, make a nice presentation.
Ooh.
We're just going to spoon this in. Okay, there's one.
Oh, wow, chef.
It's looking good.
Woo. Man, that does look good.
You know, I really like to serve mine with plantain chips or tortilla chips. And I have some of those here. But I just like kind of,
look at that.
Like to stick these in a little bit.
Presentation. I love it, chef.
Garnish. And it gives it a nice crunch. Now, if you don't have plantain chips, then corn chips work really good. And that's it. There you have it.
Wow.
Florida shrimp and citrus ceviche.
Good job, sir. Looks
Yum.
Delicious. To get this recipe and many more like it, go to
howtodoflorida.com.
That's right. This is delicious, chef. Oh my gosh.
The flavor, the warm, crusty conch fritter. The fabricator, Key Largo Conch House. Oh, the conch fritter is all that is good about the Florida Keys, rolled up, deep fried. Oh, and it feels like
The conch fritter's flavor is like biting into a warm little crusty seafood ball. They explode with greatness at every bite.
ho, the conch fritter, it's a Florida flavor you've got to try. Well, that's our show. I hope you learned something, but more importantly, I hope you feel encouraged to get out and do Florida.
For more info on this episode, go to howtodoflorida.com, where you'll find bonus how-to videos and all of Chef Justin's yummy recipes. And be sure to check out our Do Florida page, which is our giant list of events and activities all over the Sunshine State. Yeah, you should check it out.
This full suit's just for show. Just to contain this body is what this full suit's for. Really not a temperature thing. Can you help me right here?
Ready, guys? Give it to me.
It's all real.
Look at it. New car, new house, new everything.
This is Mr. Fisher with obviously a lot of his booty.
Bottom of a glass bottle. Could be 17th century or could be mellow yellow.
Yeah, right there. Oh, yeah, perfect. Yes.